All want to go out and start pranking. So I'm going to try and give you the most valuable information in the least amount of time possible. In this live session, you're going to learn the new prompt that I've developed that turns ChatGPT 3.5 into ChatGPT 4. If you're tired of complicated prompts and memorization, then you need to stick around to the end. You'll be a master prompt engineer before I finish this live training. I'm going to break down the three steps in this process and help you understand why each of them is so important. Three little steps, and you'll be a master. I see that we have a lot of people live, and I appreciate all the activity in the chat. I'll do my best to answer you guys at the very end. I'll respond to everyone, even comments left on the replay. Now, in the past year, I've trained over 500 experts to become entrepreneurs with ChatGPT and written the bestseller ChatGPT Profits, which you can get by checking out this QR code, something I just learned how to do last week. There are three steps to the perfect prompt in all their glory: master, quiet, chain. That's right. One, two, three. Master, quiet, chain. When combined, they form the master chain of thought prompt. There is no stronger prompt currently in existence, and I'm about to give it to you for free. I'll also give you a copy of my bestseller, ChatGPT Profits, if you put the word profits in the chat, or you can scan that QR code if you know how to do that. I always want to reward those who participate, and I promise this training is going to be epic. If you've already got a copy, that's awesome. Make sure you're following me on LinkedIn and subscribe to my newsletter because I release new content nearly every day that is absolutely cutting edge. Cutting edge. Let's get into it with number one, master. The first part of the prompt has the master component. This is one sentence that states your goal, the desired end result of your project. We want to be clear and exact about our end result. Often, we're hesitant to state our true goals for fear of being judged. This is not the time to be cagey. Here is an example. I want to create show notes for a new episode of my podcast about artificial intelligence. This single sentence gives four big pieces of information. Did you catch them? Show notes. This is the end product. But does ChatGPT know what show notes are? New episode. This means there are past episodes and thus past show notes that ChatGPT can use as examples to model. Podcast. Now we know what kind of show notes. This gives ChatGPT a reference in its databanks for the type of show. Four, artificial intelligence. Different genres of podcasts use different types of show notes. We've now helped ChatGPT to narrow down into our goal. Now, is there a way I could improve this prompt? I could add words like nonfiction and interview based, but this prompt has a good balance, which gives ChatGPT enough information for the next two steps in our process. Here are some other examples of great master prompts. I want to figure out who my ideal customer is. I want to write a blog post about swimming. Now, our master prompt doesn't have to be perfect. This is not about perfect prompting. We just need to point ChatGPT in the right direction. We're going to give ChatGPT permission to ask us questions later on in this process. This is the only sentence that we're going to write on our own. After this, everything will be in cooperation with ChatGPT. Please remember that chatting is something you do with someone, not to someone. This prompt is called the master to remind you of a huge mistake that's very common with prompting. This is the command obey structure. I command and ChatGPT obeys. This is the worst type of prompt as it requires you to be perfect. If you make a mistake, ChatGPT will never tell you. It's not allowed to. We always want to be in conversation with ChatGPT. This is when it's at its most effective. And that's why I want to be in conversation with you. When you grab your free copy of my bestseller, ChatGPT Profits, I'll send you a secret invite to my more advanced training where you can see this new prompt structure in action. I get even deeper into my process. And yes, I'm rebuilding my entire program around this new structure to make your life easier. And it all starts by putting the word profits in the comments right now. Step two, quiet. When I was a kid, I had no filter. I would say whatever I was thinking. There was no delay between my thoughts and my words, and this got me into a lot of trouble. I made mistakes that could have been avoided with a few seconds of delay while I thought through the repercussions, what I was about to say. In the second sentence of our prompt, we're going to tell ChatGPT to be quiet, to think before it answers. This is important. ChatGPT strives for speed. It's trained to respond as quickly as possible. How often have people complained about slow response times? This comes at the price of accuracy. Fast responses are also cheaper. They take less time and use fewer computing resources. Thinking time is still time where the computer is doing work. But that's what we want. This prompt is important and we can deliver it in just half a sentence if you want, without starting the task just yet, comma. You can also say it with a period if you want to make it a full sentence. Don't start the task just yet, period. This forces ChatGPT to think about the process without jumping into a response, a critical skill that I learned on my path to maturity. This is exactly what the Quiet Start prompt accomplishes without all of the complexity. This is a much better version, and it only takes 6 words. We are now most of the way through our prompt. I've shown you quite a bit of knowledge. Surely by now you're ready to put the word profits in the chat. And if you're not following me, you need to be. It's worth it. Let's get to number 3, chain of thought. Chain of thought is a fancy name for order of operations, which is a fancy name for plan or steps. You can think of these steps as links in a chain. Otherwise, the metaphor breaks down, and we don't want that to happen. The common way to run a chain of thought prompt is to write the steps of the task into your prompt. But this way stinks. If you make a mistake in your steps, the entire prompt will come crashing down. I don't like prompts where user error is a major risk. Instead, I want ChatGPT to write the chain for me. This one is a little longer, so make sure you write this down. Think through this carefully and list systematically and in detail all the steps in the middle that need to be completed before we can complete this task in a way that satisfies all of my goals. This is so critical that I'm going to say it again. This one is close to a spell, but really you just need to get the idea across. Think through this carefully and list systematically and in detail all the steps in the middle that need to be accomplished before we can complete this task in a way that satisfied all my goals. What we're basically saying, think through this and describe the best process for getting me the result I want. Just a longer way of saying it. You can change the prompt to specify your goal. You can say, get me the most new blog followers, or get me the most SEO traffic, or get me the most comments. Any of these goals are fine modifications. Now let's look at the entire prompt together. I want to create show notes for a new episode of my podcast about artificial intelligence without starting the task just yet. Think this through carefully and list systematically and in detail all the steps in the middle that need to be completed before you can complete this task in a way that satisfies all of my goals. This prompt will trigger ChatGPT's intelligence, and it will design a better process for creating show notes than it would have done if I just said, make me some show notes. This prompt has a lot of layers to it, far more than I can explain in a single live session. But when you start trying it, the whole world is going to open. The whole world is going to open. Once ChatGPT gives you a plan, modify the plan to fit your needs. When I was writing a blog post using this method last week, it had SEO at the end of the process. I moved that to step 2 as I want my keywords before I write the article rather than sprinkling them in afterwards. Other than that, it was a brilliant plan. Once you're satisfied with the chain of thoughts is good, you simply have ChatGPT work through each link in the chain. It's really that simple. When you try it, you're going to be amazed. And if you want a whole list of great prompts to try, they're in my book, ChatGPT Profits, which you can get for free by leaving the word profits in the comments below. And yes, you could scan that QR code. Pretty cool. It's the first time I've ever used one. I hope you guys like it. Now, the purpose of this video is not to make learning ChatGPT scarier, but to make it easier. You only need to learn one prompting formula, which I've just taught you. You can copy and paste it, and you never need to learn another one ever again. However, you need to go from listening to me to taking action. An okay decision now is way better than the perfect decision too late. There's an unfortunate fact. Each day you wait, you get a little further behind. AI is progressing too fast with new updates every single week. It's going to become an essential as using email or Googling. Whether you want to start your own business, get a raise, or just protect your job, you need to take action because A, you're going to be at higher risk of being fired in 2024 if you don't learn AI skills because data is coming out that employees that do are more productive. The one employee who knows how the printer works or how to reset the fax machine or update the website is bulletproof. They have an additional essential skill that nobody else in the office has. They're in a strong position, and that could be you with AI. And B, you're going to be at a massive disadvantage if you're a business owner that does not learn AI skills because the data has also come out that those that do are getting ahead in terms of productivity. The first step is to grab my book, ChatGPT Profits. This is the instruction manual that we all wish ChatGPT came with. I'll send it to you as soon as you write the word profits in the comments, or you can scan the QR code. 7 letters is all I'm charging. Just type them, hit enter, and change your destiny. Thank you guys so much for lasting to the end. I see we have some questions. I'm going to answer them now in the Q&A session. First question comes from Thomas. Can you explain your prompt formula again? Sure, I'll say it one more time. I want to create show notes for a new episode of my podcast about artificial intelligence. Without starting the task just yet, think through this carefully and list systematically and in detail the steps in the middle that need to be completed before we can complete this task in a way that satisfies all of my goals. We can really shorten this down to I want you to solve this math problem. What are the steps you need to solve in order to solve the problem? But don't start just yet. So we can really shorten it when we're answering different types of prompts. This is a longer version, which is the broadest version I could write, but you can narrow it down to match the process you need. You can call it steps or order of operations or questions to answer, whatever you want to call it. As long as we say, I want you to do steps, give me a lot of detail, but don't start just yet. And then I'm going to review them. This triggers ChatGPT Genius Mode. Now, Jennifer asked a really interesting question, which is what's the problem with Command Obey? There are two flaws in the way ChatGPT is programmed. Whenever you make something broad, just like my prompt, is you make it really wide use, it's never as good as a narrow specific use. ChatGPT is designed to always answer your question no matter what, and it's always designed to assume you will never ask a follow-up question. It's built this way to give you the best middle of the road answer every single time you answer a question. It means it will never hurt your feelings, never say you've asked a bad question, and never tell you that you haven't given enough information to give you a good answer. This means you'll always get a satisfactory answer, but you'll never get past a B. You're never going to get a B plus or an A minus or an A plus answer when you're stuck in this mode. This is like beginner mode or easy mode. We need to activate advanced mode and genius mode. When we move out of command obey and into chat mode, two things change. Number one, ChatGPT now knows that you're going to ask multiple questions and can have a multi-part conversation. This allows it to be more detailed and not to think, oh, I have to fit my answer into this length of a single response. It's no longer trapped by the limit of its average response length. And it can tell you what information it needs. So if you give it incomplete information, it will tell you, I need more information. This avoids garbage in, garbage out, which is where you enter in the wrong numbers for a math problem, and then ChatGPT gives you a wrong answer, and you don't realize it's your fault because you entered in the wrong numbers. Lewis asks, why shouldn't I just write out the chain of thought for myself? That's what other prompt engineers teach. That's a great question. When I first encountered this structure, I was really working through it thinking, why, why is it so hard? My big worry is that I will forget a step. This means every prompt I have to memorize or write down now, and I have to have this big list of copy and paste. And if I forget something, then it becomes endemic. Let's say I write down my structure for the perfect blog post and I forget to put in keyword research. Every single time I work through this series of steps, that error will re-trigger. I've now taken a small problem and made it a permanent problem because not only did I make the mistake in the prompt, I've now copied and pasted that prompt and I keep reusing it. It's very dangerous because it's very normal for us to forget steps. One of my favorite books is The Checklist Manifesto. It's all about how even checklists with just 5 items on them can make a major difference in a hospital, like major difference. The book is amazing. It's the same reason pilots live by checklists. It's so important. And you'll find that this process removes the possibility of you forgetting a step in the process. So you don't have to memorize the steps and there's no risk of you forgetting one. It makes your life a lot easier. You still read the chain of thought, you still read the order of operations, and if a step is missing, you want to move steps around, you can still fix them in your second prompt in your response. This lowers the amount you need to memorize and makes your life so much easier. Stephanie asks if I teach other courses or programs. I do. I'm right now rewriting my entire AI Freedom program, which teaches you how to do all of this stuff to build your own business, to launch your own business, to accelerate your business. And I'm rebuilding version 3 using this exact prompt to change everything. This is why I'm so excited. I'm teaching it to you guys first. And I wanted to share that right here. You can find out all about that when you grab ChatGPT Profits by scanning this QR code or by throwing the word profits into the chat. Now, please, please make sure you follow me, subscribe to my LinkedIn newsletters for easy to digest and implementable content throughout the week. AI doesn't have to be hard or scary. I try to make my newsletter something you could read in less than 5 minutes every day. It's all you need, no fluff. Now, I will be live again next week, so make sure you follow me to get that notification. Thank you, everyone, for being here. As always, I try to keep this under 20 minutes. It looks like we're right at a tight 50.